are you guys doing today?
Good.
Good.
Fantastic. So today what we're going to be talking about is a little bit of a vegetarian stir fry. So what encompasses a vegetarian stir fry? Well, literally it can be anything. You can use tofu, you can use tempeh as your vegetarian source of protein. Tofu is the soybean curd. I'm sorry, that was just like this. What you just did.
What?
I'm sorry. Tofu is the soybean curd. That is how they make it is they take soy milk and they press it down, and what's left is a little bit of the okara and the whey, and curds form out of the whey, and that way when you press it down, that's how you get a solid firm tofu. And there's different variations. There's the semi-soft, the soft, silken, the firm, and that can lead into so many different applications that you can use it for. So as far as vegetarian, as far as veggies go for the stir fry, the sky's the limit. Whatever you want to put in is, whatever vegetables you want to put in, it's totally up to you. And what I like to do is I like to incorporate a lot of color, and just with the more color that you have, the more nutrients you're going to have and phytochemicals you're going to have in your stir fry. So I want to begin with a little bit. I didn't pre-cook any of my vegetables. I like all my vegetables al dente. I like them with a little bit of crisp to them. I don't like them mushy at all. So I'm just going to start with some broccoli and some bok choy in my pan. And when we stir fry, we want to use an oil that has a very high smoke point, that is very will maintain itself without breaking down and turning rancid. And once we have a rancid oil, it does an incredible amount of bad things to your body. So what we want to do is use sesame oil, peanut oil, canola oil, a mixture of olive oil blend, and just maintain it. So we don't want to use too much when we stir fry, because we don't want to make it greasy at all. We want to keep their sustenance. So,
There's no
there's no flame.
What's a phytochemical?
Great question. A phytochemical is a nutrient, essentially an antioxidant. What they do in our bodies is that they protect us. They kind of just work their way and try to heal any damage that's going on from the outside world. So I'm just going to wait for that to heat up a little bit.
Is it that free radical thing I always hear about on TV?
So free radicals are outside components that can range from oxidative stress to the body. So what happens is we have a lot of oxygen in our cells, and which is good. We want that. We have a lot of oxygen in our blood. That's not a bad thing. But what happens is when we have oxygen that take away some of the protons, take some of the chemical structure away. Once it loses some of the chemical structure, it starts going into other things in the body, other chemicals, etc. to kind of get the proton, get the electron back, whatever it is. And in that sense, that's when we have the oxidative stress that so many people are talking about. That's what free radicals kind of just do that. And essentially, we become some of our body parts become oxidized, or some of our organs, etc., become oxidized. That way, it lowers the immune function. What phytochemicals and antioxidants do is they kind of just help avoid that in some sense. So we want to get a really good, nice char and sear on these veggies. Get the heat really, really high. And since I didn't cook them beforehand, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deglade it with a little bit of lemon juice and lime juice and soy sauce, and just kind of cook them in the moisture a little bit. So as far as knife cuts go, what we want to do for a stir fry is typically a julienne. And a julienne is essentially a matchstick. Think about that, just straight across, long ways. And from a red pepper, this is essentially a julienne. That's essentially the size that we want in our stir fry again, just because it It'll help cook. It'll help cook all the way through, and not cook too much. Too much, make it too small, it'll be too mushy. So we just want to stay a good consistency. Now, a lot of rumors have been spread around about tofu lowering testosterone and it affecting performance, etc., and it being a vegetarian source of protein. It raises estrogen rates in men, and I want to put to the side all those rumors and stop tofu. There's been a lot of extensive research on tofu, and I know as athletes we want to kind of look into that and find out, well, we don't want extra estrogen in our blood. So essentially, tofu does have isoflavones, which are the precursors of estrogen. But once it is cooked, once the soybean is cooked, it loses all, if not most, of the estrogen compounds. And much research has been done and been debated on the effects of tofu or just soybeans in general and lowering testosterone levels in men, and nothing has been proven to that extent as far as that. So as you see, as I'm sauteing and tossing these ingredients, there's a lot of color, there's a lot of arrangements, and essentially that's what we want. We want a very pretty color, and the more color that we have, the more phytonutrients and antioxidants we're going to obtain, the more vitamins and minerals. So here I have two forms of soy, two forms of protein. Here we have tofu that I marinated and baked off, and I like to bake my tofu because it just gives it a better texture. I think kind of a little bit meatier on the outside and not as soft and mushy. And then we have tempeh. Now tempeh is fermented soybeans, and essentially that kind of makes it a little bit more bioavailable to your body just because they're fermented and they're easier to absorb and obtain the nutrients from. So what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of do both, a little bit of both.
So with the tofu, is there any way you can mask the texture of it? Because I tried it before and mine problems with the texture thing.
Yeah. So as far as texture, what type of texture is it that you don't like?
I don't like the mushiness.
So the mushiness of tofu, I like to fry it off myself. If you fry it, it encapsulates the tofu in its crispy skin, and it makes it a lot more meat-like. As you eat it, the inside is a little bit going to stay a little bit moist, a little bit mushy, but that should not be a problem in the end. And also look into your tempeh as an alternative. The problem with tempeh is that a lot of people are afraid of the texture or the fact that it's a fermented food and it looks weird. But if you marinated it in a lot of acid, the tempeh will definitely absorb all those flavors. That's the key, I think, to cooking with tofu and tempeh, is just marinating it in a very strong marinade and acidic and a lot of acid, just because all the flavors will be able to permeate a lot better. So as a side, I know we're athletes, so we need fuel. I didn't want to make white rice for you. I wanted to make something a little bit more, with a little bit more oomph and a little bit more solid strength in their nutrient density. So I did a little bit of black quinoa, and I know tofu is essentially, and stir fry is typically paired with white rice or some noodles of some kind, but I wanted to just kind of give you a little bit more nutrient bang for your buck. So here we have another complete protein in the quinoa, good source of carbohydrates, good source of protein.
How do you cook quinoa?
So quinoa, you want to just cook it almost just like rice. I usually use a 3-to-1 ratio, and honestly just add water as needed. And it's done when it's just nice, light, and fluffy, and nice, light, and fluffy, and cooked all the way through. On the back burner on the side, I made a little bit of tomato barbecue sauce just to go with the tempeh. I feel that tomato and I feel that tempeh and barbecue are a great flavor combination. So, and you also get a lot of lycopene. You get a lot of nutrients in the tomato sauce as well.
And what did you put in the tomato sauce?
The tomato sauce, we have a little bit of ginger, garlic, shallots, some aromatics, and we just cook that all the way down. Essentially cook the tomato sauce till it's an umami type flavor, really dark, really rich, and that's it. Tofu stir fry.